Name of the topic we are going to start is quadratic equation. I write down equation in short like this. You can also use it. Okay. Now, what is quadratic equation? So, to understand quadratic equation, first you need to understand what do you mean by degree of a equation. Degree mean to say the maximum power of any equation is called degree. Maximum power of variable, that will be more precise. Variable, like variable can be x, it can be y, it can be any other thing. So suppose I am writing 5x square plus 3x minus 8. So here the maximum power is 2, so its degree is 2, correct? So its degree is 2, so it's a quadratic equation. It's a quadratic equation. But suppose I am writing 5x cube minus 7x square plus 8x minus 3 equals to 0, it having a degree of 3. So this is not a quadratic equation. Even suppose I am writing 3x minus 8 equal to 0. So this is also, it's having a degree of 1. So this is also not a quadratic equation. But this one is quadratic equation because it have degree 2 because the maximum power is 2. Now, the general form of a quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c is equals to 0, where a, b, c are real values. This sign denotes member of real value, right? So a, b, c are real values, okay, and a can't be 0. Why I'm saying a can't be 0? You think, suppose a will become 0, so it will be 0 into x square, so this part will removed and we have only bx plus c equals to 0. Due to that, it do not have the degree 2 because it having a degree 1. So this is no more a quadratic equation. So the condition is that a can't be 0. So what is the general form of quadratic equations? I'm erasing this one. So general form of quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0, where a can't be 0 and a, b, c are real values. Let's take some example, okay? So you can take it down 3x square minus 4x plus 5 equals to 0. It's a quadratic equation, yes. I can take down x square minus 7x plus 8 equals to 0. It's a quadratic equation, yes. I can take x plus 1 by x equals to 3 is a quadratic equation. Now why this is quadratic equation? Because if we'll solve it, we'll take LCM, it will be x square plus 1 equals to 3. This means x square plus 1 equals to 3x. So finally I got x square minus 3x plus 1 equals to 0, and it is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c. So this is also a quadratic equation. So the quadratic equation can be something like this: x square minus 4 equal to 0. Yeah, it's a quadratic equation. But check it out, here this part is not there. I mean to say b is not there. Okay, we'll go in details in some time. Okay, so suppose x square minus 3x equals to 0, then this is also a type of quadratic equation. We'll talk about different type of quadratic equation right now. Let me complete the example first. Okay, so suppose I'm writing x square minus 3 equal to 1 by 4. This is also a quadratic equation, because if we'll bring it up this side, so we'll get something x square minus 3 minus 1 by 4 equals to 0. So it will be x square minus 13 by 4 equals to 0, and that is also a quadratic equation. So you got to know what is quadratic equation, what is the general form of quadratic equation, and which are quadratic equation. Let's talk about different type of quadratic equation now. Okay, so let me erase it. So we already got to know that the general form of a quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c is equals to 0, where a, b and c are real values and a can't be 0, right? Now let's talk about different type of quadratic equation. Actually two type of quadratic equation is there. One is when the b is not there, and one when the c is not there. Let's take an example to understand all this. Okay, so when I'm writing an equation like 3x squared minus 5x plus 4 equals to 0 for say, so here this one representing a, right, this one representing b, and this one representing c. What does it mean? It means the value of a equals to 3, value of b equals to minus 5, and value of c equals to 4, right? What is a here? A is the coefficient of x square. What is b here? B is the coefficient of x. And what is c? C is the constant term. Okay, keep it in your mind that everything should be in one side, other side it must be 0. So these are the value of a, b and c, right? Now suppose there is an equation something like this: 3x squared minus 4 equals to 0, correct? Check it out. In this case b is equals to 0 because the middle term is not there, correct? Because here a equals to 3, b is equals to 0, that's why the middle term is removed, because the value of b is 0, so this part is removed, and c equals to minus 4. When b equals to 0 in any quadratic equation, then we call it pure quadratic equation. But suppose there is a value of b other than 0, I mean to say 3x square minus 4x equal to 0, or 3x square minus 4x plus 5 equal to 0. In both the cases, a is also not equals to 0 and b is also not equal to 0, and such equations, such quadratic equations are called adfacted quadratic equation. Adfacted quadratic equation. Do you know what will happen in this scenario? In this scenario the value of b is there, right? But in this scenario the value of b is 0. Okay, so you got to know the difference between pure quadratic equation and adfacted quadratic equation. Now let's talk how to solve the quadratic equation. So the first thing that we know, using the factorization method, which is sometimes also called middle term factor, which you already have done in class 9. Okay, so suppose we have x squared minus 7x plus 12 equal to 0 is a quadratic equation, and I want to solve it. So we can use the middle term factor method. Check it out how. You need to check what is the coefficient of x squared, that is 1, right? And what is the coefficient, what is the constant term, that is 12. So 1 into 12, correct? You have to think about the possible factors, okay, combination of factors which is making it 7, but by adding. Now the question is, how do you understand that by adding or by subtracting? Here this part is positive and this part is also positive. I mean to say a is positive and c is also positive. When a and c is positive, then we need to break this down by adding, not by subtracting. Okay, so 1 into 12 I can take it like 4 into 3, correct? See, 4 into 3. Why? 4 and 3 will making it 7. By adding 4 and 3, we can make it 7. Correct? Okay. So what can I say here? This will be x square minus, and 7 can be converted into 4 plus 3. Because 4 and 3 is giving you the multiplication of A and C. X plus 12 equals to 0. Some people skip this line and they do it like this: x square minus 4x minus 3x plus 12 equals to 0. So you can do this, but better to do this one. By this, the chances of mistake will be less. Out of these two, you can take down x common, then we have x minus 4. Again, out of these two, you can take down minus 3 common, it will be x minus 4 equals to 0. So finally, x minus 4 will be taken common in both of them. So here it is x and here it is minus 3 equals to 0. See, this is the multiplication of two term, one term and two term, correct? So multiplication of two term will be 0 only when any one of them will be 0. So what we can say, either x minus 4 equals to 0, or we can say x minus 3 is equals to 0, right? So finally, we can solve it and say x equals to 4 and x equals to 3, correct? So we can say the value of x equal to either 4 or 3, and that will be the solution. What do you mean by solution? It means if we'll be putting these two value in this equation, if we'll put these two value in the equation, then this equation will be satisfied. You can check it out. If I'll be putting 4 here, it will be 4 square minus 7 into 4 plus 12. So 4 square is 16, 7 4 are 28 and plus 12, correct? So 16 plus 12 is 28 and minus 28, so it is 0, so it is satisfying the equation. Similarly, if you will be taking 3, then also it will be satisfied. Check it out. 3 square minus 7 into 3 plus 12, so it will be 9 minus 21 plus 12, so this will also give you 0. Thus both of these values satisfying this equation, so these are called the roots of the equation. Roots of the quadratic equation are nothing but these are the solution of the equation. Like the value which is satisfying the given equation is called the roots of the equation. Generally, roots of the equation are denoted by alpha and beta, correct?